Hello folks, hope you're having a great day today. Today I want to take a look at the next chapter in my Living with HD series, where I take a look at different aspects of what it's like to live with Huntington's disease. As a reminder, Huntington's disease is a neurological condition that you get in your head. It comes from your parents. It's genetic. It gets worse over time. It's progressively worse. It's degenerative, and it's terminal. You will die from it, and there's no known way of saving you from it either. It attacks three different aspects of you. It attacks your mental capacity, your understanding, your memory, it will lose. It also attacks your mental health. You're more likely to become depressed and see other signs of mental health. And then finally, it attacks you physically, as you have various aspects, chorea-related, physical palsies, and different things that start to happen that will prevent you from doing things physically. So it's actually three different ways. That's Huntington's disease. And in this series, I go over on a weekly basis every Wednesday one aspect of what it's like to live with Huntington's disease. This week I want to talk about what it's like to travel with HD. I'm somebody who really likes to travel a lot. As you've seen since I've started this channel, I've actually gone on hiatus 3 times for 3 separate trips. My first trip was last spring in 2019 for Morocco. During the spring break, I went to Morocco in Africa. I really enjoyed myself there. And then about 6 months later, in fall, I went to Iceland for about 10 days. So I was over there in Iceland journeying. And then more recently for spring break here, I was heading to Cape Verde over in Africa, some islands off the coast of Senegal. And unfortunately, that flight was canceled, and so I wound up going due to COVID-19 related issues. So instead I went to the Caribbean. I still had taken that time off. I still wanted to use it. I went to Turks and Caicos Island where I bought this hat over in the Caribbean. I went to Turks and Caicos Island for a few reasons. I actually ordered my tickets the day before, like the night before, like 10:30 p.m. My flight was leaving the next morning early to head over to TCI. And I did it for a few reasons. One, because how close TCI is to the U.S., uses the U.S. dollar, uses U.S. plugs, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't have had to have done any sort of things ahead of time to get ready. And then secondly, because it was a former British colony, they speak English there, which is important to me because I speak English and French, and that's it. So I like to go places like Morocco or Iceland or TCI, where they speak the local language. Third, it's close by plane, so if I needed to come back, I could. There's a direct connection from the nearby airport. That's cool. And then finally, it was going during spring break, and going to the Caribbean during spring break is a rite of passage for college-age students. I work with college-age students at college here at UMBC. University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and this is my 5th school where I've worked with college-age students. I work with them as a part of my job. I don't really want to vacation with them either, so this was a place that's off the beaten path. It doesn't have like a whole bunch of like dive bars, nightclubs, that sort of thing. It's not this super developed place like an Aruba or something like that would be. Instead, it's one of the lesser developed places. It does have a lot of fun things happening, but it's a place for adults, if you will, rather than college students or high school students. They're coming down for their spring break party in the Caribbean. So I really did like that aspect of it too. So that's another reason why I chose TCI to go to. So I didn't just like throw a dart at a dartboard and say, okay, where to the Caribbean am I going to go? All right, random toss of dice or something like that. So anyway, there you are. I went to TCI instead because for COVID-19 related reasons. Enjoyed my time there, and I bought this hat, so that was pretty cool too. It was a fun pickup down in TCI. So while I was down there, I do a lot of local things, and I've done the same thing at Iceland and the same thing in Morocco. And this is just like my last 18 months. I really enjoy traveling. I enjoy going to new places. I enjoy doing things. I'm an explorer. That's a key part of my identity. But how do I do it with Huntington's disease? How do I do it when I have HD? I'm going to give you an example. When I was in Iceland, there was this, I was doing a day trip over to this section of this peninsula That's about an hour and a half from the capital city. And as a part of this day trip, we went through this beach and these cliffs that were on this beach. And you had these cliffs that were on the beach proper, and the beach is like down here. And the water had been hitting the beach so hard that it had penetrated and had these little sea caves. And then there were these sea caves that popped up, and over top of these cliffs, the water was shooting off, so you could walk around it on the cliffs from this water spout that had come up through the cave at the bottom all the way up through the top. And it had opened it up, so there was this little hole here in the top of the cliff. And so we went over to them. Now, the guide ahead of time says, now I'm just going to tell you right up front, there are no handrails, there are no things like that, right? If you go near it and you slip and fall, you're dying. So you have to make sure you got your shoes, right? Now, they weren't going to stop you if you wanted to go do it. You could go do it. That's pretty much what all of Iceland is. You're an adult and they assume you're going to act like it. And that you've done your research, you're not going to do anything stupid if you can't deal with it. But as somebody with Huntington's disease, somebody with a physical condition, was they going to go over there and take a look at it, or else they're going to hang back with the people that decided, no, I'm not going to go over there and risk my life falling down this hole. I did it, because that's who I am. I'm the explorer. I check out new things. But that gives you kind of an example of how I encounter Huntington's disease. And Iceland was full of that, like I just said. There were very few places that had guardrails. There were very few places that had like something built down things. I can remember this big giant waterfall that we went to on a second day trip, and on that waterfall, I can remember there being just these. Again, there was just nothing. If you slipped and started to fall down this hillside, you needed to catch yourself, because otherwise you were hitting the waterfall. You were hitting that river, and that river was like maybe a half a mile down. It was not going to be a pleasant fall. And I can remember that in several different places. You know, there weren't embankments that they'd built out, or fences on the side of the road, or people, or these, you know, lots of people are going down, all these tourists, right? That's not Iceland. And to a lesser degree, it's not Turks and Caicos Island. It's not this heavily developed place either, right? Although it's not nearly as dangerous, right, as Iceland's, you know, cliffs and stuff like that would be. But you get the idea, right? In Iceland, you're expected to act like an adult. Now, I'm on a Austedo, which I've talked about before, which is a medicine which typically about halves my issues that I'm having with HD physically. So that helps, I think, a lot more, things like this. But it's definitely something that's in my mind. It's definitely something that's there. Traveling with this condition. Am I going to go to a place that's not really good at being good for people that are disabled? You know, are there going to be some places on the map that I'm not going to go to because, you know, I can't have, you know, I want us to go outside my hotel, right? Or the hotel itself has got a bunch of stairs going up and down, and I need to have some sort of help. Luckily, I'm still 7 years into a condition, and my physical aspect has been slower, I think, than it was with my mom. My mom died just a few years after I had it, and a few years older than me, and she had retired when she was 40 or 39 from her job as a teacher. And so she retired then. I'm 42 and turned 43 just recently. So I'm a few years older than her when she had to retire, and I'm still fine. You know, I'm still able to physically do things, particularly with my help from my medicine that I have too. And so we're good, I think, for now. But it's definitely something that's always in my mind, and I'm always thinking about. And I'm starting to choose my destinations based on whether or not I can do them physically. And that's a key part. That's a key part, because I'm always somebody who's like to hike, stay outside, walk around, and that sort of thing. And is that still going to happen or not? And that's, again, a key part of the things that I'm thinking about and moving forward. And there are definitely some places that I'm already going to start to check off my list and saying, you know, I'm not going to be able to go here or go there, but where can I go? Where's more handicap accessible locations? And that's also some of the key sort of research that I'm doing. So that's kind of an example of what it's like to live with Huntington's disease, while also somebody who enjoys traveling and going to other places and seeing the world too, and some of the things that I do. Luckily, my medicine helps with the decisions that I make. But there are places in this world like Iceland that isn't that handicap accessible outside of their capital city. And so, you know, you need to know before you go to some of these places what places are, what places aren't ahead of time, so that you can make some of those decisions. But there you are. I'll leave you to it. Did you enjoy this? Is there anything here on the aspect of traveling that you'd like to talk about? Are you somebody who likes to travel and has Huntington's disease or another similar condition that you'd like to discuss? I'm happy to discuss some of the details with you or talking with you about it in the comments below. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. I do a weekly update for you for Living with HD. And finally, I just want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch this video. We all have so many things happening in our lives and so many things pulling us in different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, it's very humbling. And I appreciate that so much. So have a good one.